Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Discord we got Josh.
Hey,
Uh, Pretty big WrestleMania build weekend. We got a couple of matches that we were expecting getting official, and a couple of matches that we're keeping an eye on slowly get more and more built, even if we don't have official announcements of them. And so the first one of that obviously is that triple threat Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. It's in the books, it's written down, and we had segments across SmackDown, across Raw. They've really been building this triple threat.
yeah, this is night one main event. It's been the match we've been expecting. It's three of the biggest players in the company that's not involved for a title. Um, it should be a phenomenal match, and it should have some phenomenal promos leading up to it. Um, and even if you think about it, this match is rooted in history uh, throughout the last decade and a half of WWE. Uh, I mean, the Shield debuted on the behalf of Punk. Um, so the and the first person to beat them was Punk in a handicap match. So, um, and then bringing them in brings that is a spark for the Shield. And then you have what is probably the modern day like spark plug for everything that's happened afterwards, and that is Rollins betraying the Shield, because so much spun off of that, and it gave us Rollins as the heel Rollins. It made Reigns stand on his own, and eventually that betrayal led to the dark side. Took a while, but we eventually got to the big dog being shed away and we getting the tribal chief. So yeah, this
Yeah.
has been a decade and a half building, and it's been intertwined throughout their careers.
Yeah, and even, most recently, you've got people eliminating each other from the Rumble, people costing the Chamber. You've got Roman Reigns throwing away his shot of putting, Cody down to get that revenge hit on Seth Rollins. Um, Even for someone whose brain is a pea like mine and can't remember all of these like classic and old and further back details, you only got to look back 12 months. And they've been weaving all of these pieces together. Punk and Rollins gone at it many times. You got the favor, you got the Punk stepping up to help at War Games. It's yeah, as you say, very well weaved, and looking forward to the build we get. We got a brawl on SmackDown, we got a Punk promo on Raw. It's three guys who can deliver great promos and segments, and yeah, the next 3 weeks should be an interesting build.
Yeah, and it's three guys that just can't stand each other. Usually you'll have like in these triple threats, you'll have two guys that hate each other and a one that's just seems to be there for no reason. These three guys just despise each other, and they will look to destroy each other.
Yeah. And I want to turn our attention to the Intercontinental Championship. We've been saying multi-man match for a little while. Want to look at what happened on Raw. It was Penta and Braun Breaker going one-on-one, but Judgment Day sticking in their nose. Carlito and Dominic at the start, and then eventually Finn Balor also coming out. Um, Penta choosing to, I was going to say not use the chair, choosing to use the chair on Dominic instead of on Braun. And yeah, it continues to build who may or may not be involved in this multi-person matchup for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, I mean, it's it was odd that we got Penta versus Braun when we got it. Um, but it should still be fun to see where they go with this title. Um, if it is just another straight up Braun Penta, I'll be fine with it. Because there's still so much more that they can do. Especially if you get rid of the Judgment Day stuff. Um, but yeah, if imagine that it's a fatal four way, and it is, and they include both Dom and Finn in it.
Yeah, I think at this point, Dom and Finn, if it is going to be a multi-person match, I think Dom and Finn are both going to be involved. You know, it's similar to when we were looking at Damien. It was similar when we were looking at Rhea. It just seems like a matter of time until Finn Balor is getting replaced in the Judgment Day. And every week, I think, you know, this is going to be the week. You know, then they'll accidentally hit each other, and it's like, oh, and then no big split, no big throwing him out, and we do only have a few more weeks between now and WrestleMania. I don't particularly see that they're going to explode prior to WrestleMania, but maybe WrestleMania is the fuse. Maybe that's either where it explodes or where the fuse gets lit.
I think it'll get lit. I think it'll be lit and then explode the next night on Raw. On Raw. Because I think that's when you pull the trigger. Is Raw. It's Raw after WrestleMania. So yeah. Let's make it a 6-man ladder match, and throw in and include Sheamus and Ludwig, and then we get everybody that we want in the match, and whoever wins the match will deserve it.
Yeah, happy regardless. And then, you know, we talk about the Intercontinental title, and it was Braun versus Penta, and then Mysterio and Balor sort of creeping around the edges, who are together at the moment, but do look headed for an explosion and a feud against each other. We hard cut over to SmackDown. We got Braun Strowman, LA Knight being set, thanks to the outcome of the match, for the United States title, and then hovering around the edge of it, you've got Solo Sikoa, you've got Jacob Fatu, currently friends, just waiting for the trigger to be pulled, really. It's pretty mirrory between Raw and SmackDown with those mid-card championships right now. We're going to just end up with a multi-man match for this one, as well, with LA Knight, Braun, Fatu, Sikoa, and a couple other people thrown in.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what they're doing with the U.S. title. I still kind of want the idea we threw out last week of it being a open challenge at WrestleMania. Because we know that that Strowman is getting his title shot next week.
Yeah.
Which
is surely not clean based on the outcome of this.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing, I have no idea how they're going to do this. Because if they put the title on Strowman, then it's immediately going to be shifted to Jacob Fatu in 3 weeks, which means that we will have had 4 title changes since January 1st.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if Knight wins here, regardless the way he does, I don't see Strowman and being part of whatever they do for the U.S. title. I think it's obvious that weekend, even if it's not on WrestleMania, on the WrestleMania weekend, because it could be on SmackDown, we're going to get a Jacob Fatu, Braun Strowman, like, stipulation to hell match. I don't know what stipulation they'll pick, but I know they'll pick a stipulation for that match, because this feud between these two guys cannot handle a straight up one-on-one.
Yeah, there's so much happening, and yeah, it makes sense. I think if I was looking at the Judgment Day's explosion and I was looking at the Bloodline's explosion, I do think the Judgment Day are a whole lot closer. You know, you asked me 2 to 3 months ago, after Solo Sikoa sort of disappeared for a little while, I thought, you know, maybe we were there between Solo and Jacob, maybe it was gonna happen, and it seems almost, you know, backburnered, especially since Roman has detached and Cody Rhodes have detached. Fatu has kind of been stuck in the Strowman feud for quite a few months. Sikoa just hovering around, and Tama Tonga just making weird noises in the back. And so, yeah, I don't know. It feels like wrap it up with Strowman, move on, tell your next story with Bloodline 2.0, but they are significantly less of the focus than their previous counterparts when it comes to SmackDown. We're roughly halfway through the show, and that means it is time to play our entrance theme this week. And I don't think I need to introduce this one. I think I'm just gonna let the glass shatter. And you're back at Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. I'm Grady, he's Josh. Talking about those WrestleMania matches that aren't announced, that we are clearly building towards SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Street Profits doing their little promo. Legado del Fantasma, pretty deadly, coming out, sort of poking the bear. And then Street Profits coming up with the win over Los Garza. Good, solid win for the new champs, and it's got to be full speed ahead for this 5-way tag team championship match, right? Surely.
I have no idea. I'm happy they finally put the titles on Street Profits. It was something that needed to be done for a while. But yeah, I don't know what. I think this is going to be one of those slapped on the SmackDown matches. I don't think it'll be a WrestleMania match. Which means it could change to any form of the that it's possible. I mean, like next week it's straight up Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly for the titles. So there's still a lot that they could do. But it'll be fun to watch how this plays out and who comes out with the titles at the end of the day. WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, as you said, I think we got to be looking towards that WrestleMania SmackDown as well, because there is just so much to fit on 2 days of WrestleMania. And, you know, we're not really for making them massively long since it's been 2 days, and since it's been, you know, under the new management. Pay-per-views have been pretty short. But yeah, if the Street Profits defeated DIY to get the titles, they've defeated Los Garza this week. If they defeat Pretty Deadly next week, it's really just the Motor City Machine Guns sitting there as the next to step up. So they could run through the entirety of their challenges prior to WrestleMania. And yeah, I would love to see any combination, preferably the 5-way match on WrestleMania. I think, you know, there's always room for 1 or 2 cluster F matches, and I think everyone is such a great talent in that match that they do well. But maybe if they're leaning towards a couple of multi-person matches for the mid-cards, they don't want to just chocker it up with ladders and mid-card and multi-persons. I don't know. So many different options.
The one thing I would like to see that I know isn't going to happen, a gauntlet match for the titles. And whoever wins it is the champions, and you could have all 5 teams get some shine, and then eventually bring in the champions last to battle whoever is the survivor of the first 4 legs.
Yeah, be cool.
But that'll never happen.
No, definitely not. Maybe on the SmackDown before, but definitely not on the WrestleMania card for sure. Women's Tag Team Championship. Right, we got new champions. Liv Morgan, Raquel, Naomi, Jade have spun off into their feud. Balia has spun off into her feud. And then our new champs, kind of open, could have had anybody challenging them in the WrestleMania run-up into the WrestleMania season. I was pretty sure that Bayley was pulling off a feud with Roxanne. I thought, you know, maybe they'd do it at Stand and Deliver instead, so it doesn't take a spot on the WrestleMania card. That was fine by me. But now Bayley and Lyra are working together against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, after Lyra defended her title against Raquel. Is this I guess, the women's tag match that we're going to get at WrestleMania.
I honestly don't think the titles get defended at WrestleMania. Um, I think it'll end up being a 6-woman match, and we'll throw in Raquel Rodriguez. We'll throw in Roxanne Perez as well.
Yeah, it. We said that these mid card championships for the women were a great way to show, yet another facet of the divisions, and it didn't take long. So, maybe I'm judging too early, but it didn't take long for them to be involved again into just the tag team scene. If Lyra and Bailey do mount a shot at the championships, I don't know. Maybe this is going to be a bit of a like a misnomer. Maybe Bailey is going to go up against Lyra for the Intercontinental title. Maybe Roxanne weaves into that. We end up with a triple threat, and we just ignore the tag titles. There's still options, and it has only been one segment, one show, 1 week. But I don't know. It's not what I pictured when it came to that women's mid-cut and that women's tag team scene in terms of matches heading into WrestleMania. Well, we'd also be remiss if we didn't take time this week to talk about the debut on Raw. Massive star coming over to the WWE, El Grande Americano, having a pretty good showing against Dragon Lee in his debut, coming away, with the victory.
Oh, this is interesting. I mean, we've been begging them to do something with Gable since the last time he lost the Intercontinental title match. We did not expect them to turn him into a luchador.
You mean Chad Gable was sick? He couldn't make it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Chad Gable, but it's totally Chad Gable. I don't know what they're building to with this. But it should be fun. It should be interesting. It should be interesting and exciting. And but at the same time, I also have to wonder. We were so high on Dragon Lee when he was in NXT on his way up, and he's been stuck with the LWO and done nothing since calling up. That isn't that is sad. That's not interesting.
Yeah, two pieces. I'll split and talk the Chad stuff. I do love what they're doing. I'm with you. I don't quite know where we're building towards. I assume some sort of American-made versus LWO match, be it at WrestleMania, be it the Raw before, be it the Raw after. That does seem to be the only piece that they're building towards, or maybe El Grande versus Rey Mysterio is the match they want to go with, or El Grande is going to find his way into the multi-person ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know. I think there's definitely options that they can go with, and I kind of like where they're going right now, even if I can't see the exact outcome. I'm not hating what they're putting on week to week. The Dragon Lee stuff, yes. The LWO is a bit of a void at the moment. Even Joaquin and Del Toro not doing a whole lot, right? You come out, you're Rey Mysterio's goons. Dragon Lee getting a couple tag matches with Rey Mysterio as well, but he's just one of Rey Mysterio's goons. When people want to feud with Rey, you throw the goons in the way, you have some matches with them, and the ultimate end goal is a match with Rey, and Rey doesn't have to wrestle as often, and he doesn't have to go, which is great for Rey, who is getting up there in years and in knee surgeries. But yeah, Dragon Lee has shown incredible stuff on NXT, and you kind of just want him to escape the void. You kind of just want him to break away from the LWO and do something. But it seems like that void is, really hard to break away and pull from.
Yeah. Here's an uncomfortable truth. The LWO only worked in the past because of Eddie Guerrero. And it only worked for about 3 weeks before the bigwigs in WCW killed it because they didn't want another NWO.
Mhm.
Because that was at the same time that they consolidated the main NWOs into one faction with the Finger Poke of Doom. Um, so it was never going to work in this version of the WWE. Um, and unfortunately, you probably put it up pretty well. It's turned three very talented wrestlers into cheerleaders for Rey Mysterio and bodies to get pinned on their way to wrestle with Rey Mysterio for them to cheer for Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and I don't know. It feels like, El Grande beat Dragon Lee this week. Maybe he'll go up against Cruz next week. He'll go up against Del Toro the week after. Sorry, Wild and Del Toro. And then maybe the end goal is a match with Rey Mysterio sometime around WrestleMania. I don't know if Americano versus Rey Mysterio is WrestleMania worthy. But I don't know. That seems like the logical outcome from here. And then I don't know what you do with Gable / Americano afterwards. Surely you'd have him go over. Surely, but yeah, gotta wait and see. Right now, loving Gable's direction, not loving the LWO's direction. But I probably could have said that, for the last 6, 9, 12 months. In fact, I can't even tell you how long the LWO have been running this. It's just kind of been there the whole time. You were either
Well,
good in the LWO or you were bad in
uh,
Legado del Fantasma, and that was it.
yeah, yeah. It will. I will say this. It's been running so long that uh, we had Dominic Mysterio call him a deadbeat father, and have him fight at WrestleMania while it was still doing the LWO stuff. In
Mm.
fact, Damian Priest didn't even have his briefcase yet when they formed LWO because that was part of the Bad Bunny stuff.
March 31st, 2023. So we are 2 years in the
Yeah.
LWO. That's a lot of time. 2 years is a whole lot of time. Well, we are coming up on time, speaking of, but I do want to throw in. I'm going to park the Jey Uso feud. I think there's going to be more to talk about that next week after we've had another week of him and his confidence being shaken, but something that we can't talk about next week because we'll have the result. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, we've booked a match for next week with Bianca Belair as a special guest referee. Are we going to get a singles match at WrestleMania, or is this just the path to get us to that triple threat?
It's the path to get us to that triple threat. There's not going to be a winner next week. And it's going to be because Bianca Belair makes sure that there's not a winner. Because essentially what they're doing here is they're making Bianca pick who she would rather face. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a straight up, there's just not going to be a way to determine a winner sort of situation. I think if there is a winner, it's going to be like Bianca got pissed off at somebody
Mhm.
and took them out, which resulted in a pinfall, which resulted in somebody winning, and then Adam Pearce will be like, all right, you three can have a match at WrestleMania and be done with it.
Yeah. I could also see Bianca fast counting with Sky winning to sort of be like trying to dodge Rhea almost, and that leading to exactly what you said, either the triple threat or Sky just getting so mad about it that she hits Bianca and it just ends in a brawl. Because I imagine Sky probably doesn't want to win by fast count either. But it's not going to be a clean win, I don't think, next week. I would be shocked if it was. If it was just a straight up singles somebody wins, Bianca counts normal, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. I don't see her fast counting because Bianca's technically not a heel. That's something a heel
Yet.
does. Uh, yeah. But so yeah, it's going to be. I think it'll be one of those situations where it'll be maybe an accidental like contact with her, that she thinks isn't accidental, and she just lays them both out, and that
Yeah.
ends the match. That's probably the most likely scenario is she takes somebody out, pins, and counts a 3 for the other person because they attacked her in some way, or she just lays them both out after she gets attacked by one of them.
Yeah.
So
We'll obviously know better next week exactly what framework they applied to the match, but I do enjoy that we haven't just gone like an obvious direction for the triple threat. You know, with Rhea signing the contract, you could have just gone, oh, it's a triple threat. Instead, we are still building and taking twists and turns. We might know the destination, but we don't know the road necessarily. Versus a lot of these other feuds where we know the road, we know how they're paving it, we just don't know what the final combination of it's going to be. Right, well, that is all we've had time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
baby.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND up, and we will catch you next week.